Hi, welcome to the new ClassFit Sugar. My name is Charlie Atkins, and today I'll be leading you through a lower body workout that is entirely knee-friendly. This session is sponsored by Under Armour. Shop my look in the caption below. I'll be using a set of medium dumbbells. If you have a pair at home, grab them now and let's get to work. Let's start down here on our mat, just lying on your right side, toes pulled towards the shin. We're just gonna lift this top leg. But one thing I don't want you to do is I don't want you to kick the leg up super high. Just lift the leg up right till you feel the glute fire up or the hip fire up, and that's all you have to do. Toe pulls towards the shin, press the forearm down into the ground to kind of lift yourself up, and you're just gonna continue lifting that leg up. One thing you wanna keep in mind is as the leg lowers down, don't just let it fall. You're gonna control the lowering of the leg as well. Go ahead and give me 2 more. And then we're gonna switch over onto our opposite side, doing the same exercise. So really pressing the forearm into the ground, toes pulled towards the shin, and then just lifting the top leg up. Controlling the lowering of the leg and lifting the leg up only until you start to feel that hip fire up. Good. Now we've got about 15 seconds left here. If you could focus on one thing, I would say really slow down the exercise. And then we'll do 5 more lifts together. Let's do 5, 4, 3, keep pulling the toe towards the shin, 2, go ahead and give me 1 more, and then come into a quadruped position. So we're just gonna be on hands and knees, tuck the toes under. For a bird dog, all I want you to do is reach opposite arm and opposite leg out in opposite directions, pressing through the heel. So you wanna think about kicking a door behind you. Taking this exercise nice and slow and controlled. The whole goal here is to warm up the core. This exercise is often overlooked. People think it's an easy exercise, but if you're doing it properly, which is really pausing as you extend in opposite directions, pulling everything back into center, you should really feel the core working to help stabilize the body. Something you can picture is if you put like a yoga block on your back or a glass of water, and you don't want the glass of water or the yoga block to fall off. Let's go ahead and do 4 more total. That's 2 in each direction. Good, and then as you finish up with that, go ahead and meet me in a downward facing dog. So toes tuck under, hips go up towards the sky. Feel free to bend the knees if you have tight hamstrings, but I want you to have a straight line from the head all the way to the tailbone. And then we're just gonna lift one leg up and then the other. Sticking with the toe pulling towards the shin, that way we're lifting through the heel. Taking this at your own tempo, your own pace, just lifting the leg up, slowly lowering down. Pressing into the hands like you're sliding into home plate. And trying not to let the body rotate. So these are all fantastic warm-up drills. That way as we head into our workout, you're gonna be feeling nice, loose, and ready and in control of what we're doing today. Good. Go ahead and give me 1 more lift of each leg. And then we'll get started with our first round of exercises. We're gonna be starting with the core. So I want you to grab 1 dumbbell, and then you're gonna lie down on your back. Go ahead and do the right arm with me. Press the right arm up to the sky, bend the knees, and then all you're doing is right leg is gonna extend out, left arm is gonna reach up. So you're holding onto the weight in your right arm, and you're extending your right leg and your left arm. So pressing the heel out, trying to keep the lower back intact with the mat or kissing the mat the entire time. Again, if you slow down this exercise, you're gonna feel it a lot more. It's a core exercise, so really think about controlling all throughout the abs. Toes stay pulling towards the shin. Instead of looking at your toes or your weight, I want you just to look straight up at the ceiling. Let's go ahead and do 2 more on this side. And then as you finish up with your 2, go ahead and reset. You're just gonna switch sides. So punching or pushing the weight up, both knees bend up, toes pull towards the shin. This time, left leg is extending, right arm is reaching. Same time, they're moving at the same time. Lower back stays pressed to the mat. Now, if holding onto the weight is too challenging for you, you can always abandon the weight and just do this exercise as body weight. Again, the focus is on keeping the lower back pressed into the mat. If you really want to get into your deep core, that is what you want to focus on, is keeping the lower back pressed into the mat. Trying to get your right bicep to cover your ear. Good. Go ahead and give me 1 more on this side. Nice. And then we're gonna flip over and we're gonna come into another plank exercise or another core exercise, simply doing a plank spider. So starting in push-up plank position, shoulders over the wrist. I just want you to bring your knee up towards your armpit. Your knee does not need to touch your armpit, but what you are trying to control is your hips and your shoulders staying square to the mat as you alternate legs. Try micro bending the elbows and then shifting the weight forward slightly. What happens a lot in this exercise is people often bring their hips too high, and so you'll really feel the exercise in your shoulders. If you want to take it into your core, just make sure that the hips are right in line with the shoulders. Now from there, we're gonna come back down to our sides. Shoulders over the wrists, go ahead and bend the knees so that the heels are slightly behind the hips, and then all you're doing is pressing your shin into the mat and then pressing your hips forward. So pressing yourself up, lifting yourself up. You should start to feel this on the outer edge of the hip. Now this is a challenging exercise, so if you wanna maybe extend one leg to help support you, you can. Otherwise, if you're good to go, just go ahead and continue lifting yourself up, pressing your hips forward. You don't need to do a ton of reps, and then everything we do on one side, we're gonna do on the other. So go ahead and switch sides with me. Keeping the knees bent, heels are slightly behind the booty, pressing the shin down into the mat, and slowly lowering yourself back down. Two things are happening again. Remember, you're pressing down, also pressing the hips forward. These exercises don't need to be fast. In fact, if you take them nice and slow and controlled, I guarantee you're gonna feel them a lot more. Whew, already feeling the outer edge of the booty? Good. Go ahead and give me one more on this side, and then we're gonna head right back into that dead bug exercise. So go ahead and grab your weight. If you do want to make this one a little bit more challenging, instead of having one weight, you can have both weights, and then you're just gonna work on extending the right leg only. Keeping the lower back pressed into the mat. So as I extend my heel out, my heel never touches the ground. It's just a few inches right above the mat. Think about pulling the armpits down, that way your shoulders don't get up into your ears, or you might start to feel tension in the neck. Pressing lower back into the mat. See if you can give me two more on this side. Good. And then take your quick transition. Let the arms reset. And then when you're ready, we'll do the same thing on the opposite leg. So lower back presses into the mat. This time, left leg is the only thing that is moving. Picture two pieces of paper underneath your armpits. That way you're locking in the lats. That's gonna help control everything right at your core. So this is a knee-friendly workout. It's also a lower body workout. We're starting it with core exercises. That way, as we move into our total body exercises, everything is just gonna feel like it's moving a little bit more smooth. Go ahead and give me two more. Good. And then we'll flip over for that plank spider. So go ahead and put your weights away, meet me in plank position. Straight line from the head all the way to the heels. And then all you're doing is bringing knee up towards armpit. Knee does not need to touch armpit. And you're just alternating sides. What I don't want you to do is as you bring the knee towards the armpit, you don't want to rotate the body. So you're trying to keep everything square to the mat. Micro bend the elbows. That's gonna help keep your core right where you want it to be. And try shifting the weight forward. That's really gonna challenge the core. Let's do two more per leg, 4 total. Go ahead and give me one more on each side. And then we're heading into that side plank extension. Shoulders over the wrists, forearm is pressing down into the mat. Go ahead and bend the knees so that the heels are slightly behind the hips, and then just driving your shin down into the mat, lifting your hips up, but then also pressing the hips forward. So think about pressing your belly button into a wall in front of you. So you're lifting yourself up, pressing your hips forward. Another way to think of this exercise is if you're doing like a hip raise or a glute bridge, you're essentially doing the same movement except you're on your side. See if you can give me 2 more on this side, maybe slowing the exercise down by pausing at the top and slowly lowering down. One thing you'll notice is that one side is gonna feel a little bit stronger than the other. That's totally normal, which is why it's important that we're exercising or that we're challenging both sides in the same workout. Lifting yourself up, slowly lowering yourself down. Good. So you're pressing the shin down into the mat, and then you're also pressing the hips forward. Go ahead and give me 2 more on this side. Good. Controlling yourself as you lower down, and then let's move into our next set of exercises. So go ahead and grab onto your dumbbells. We're gonna be doing a sumo lean. So toes are pointed out, And then all you're doing is you're just gonna hold the weights right at your chest, keep the elbows in, which means I don't want the elbows out. And then all we're gonna do is lower down into that sumo squat position, press the knees back, and then you're just gonna lift one side up and then the other. So you're gonna notice this is really gonna start to burn, but this is a fantastic exercise for your thighs, especially the inner thighs. It's a great mobility exercise. You're just lifting the heel up, resetting, and coming back to center. If you need to come up in between a few reps, you totally can, but just continue lifting the heel up and lowering yourself down. Think about stacking the shoulders over the hips. That means you wanna have a nice solid posture, and you're just lifting the heel up, keep pressing the knees back. Go ahead and give me 2 more on this side. Good, go ahead and reset, come on up, and then we'll do the same thing on the opposite side. If holding the weights is too much right here, you can always hold them right down in between the legs. However, I like to hold them at the chest in this goblet position. So go ahead and switch over onto the left side. Thinking about your posture, really pressing the knees back. If you need to reset in between a few of the lifts, you can, but you should really start to feel the inner thighs on this exercise. Pull the shoulder blades together behind you as well. That's gonna help you with the posture. You'll understand soon why we're doing this exercise. Go ahead and give me 2 more on this side. Good, and then we'll reset. We're gonna do a split squat here. So what I want you to do is come down to a half kneeling position. You can hold the weights at your side. Make sure that the shoulder is over the knee. The shoulders are in line with the hips and the hips over the knee. And then all we're doing is just lowering yourself down, letting the back knee kiss the mat, and coming right back up. So if you want, you can lean forward slightly as long as you're keeping your posture. So another thing you can do is just press or pull the shoulder blades together. Lowering down, back knee kisses the mat. Press yourself up to standing through the front heel. Let the breath help you. Good. Go ahead and give me 1 more on this side, and then we'll switch sides. Now, the reason why we're not calling these lunges and we're calling them split squats is because we're keeping our feet static or in the same place, meaning we're not stepping or lunging into the exercise. Whenever you're ready, back knee kisses the ground, lowering down, lifting yourself up. Make sure that you're holding the weights close to the body and that you're pressing yourself up standing through the front heel. Another thing you can focus on is really digging all 10 toes down into the mat. Almost there. Good. Can you give me 2 more? And then all we're gonna do is come on down to the mat for our glute march. So lying on your back, go ahead and lift yourself up into that hip raise or the glute bridge. Go ahead and punch the sky, and then all you're doing is pulling one knee in and then the other. So slowly lowering the leg down, you're really gonna feel the obliques and the glutes fire up. If punching the weights overhead or over the chest is a little too challenging for you, you can always abandon the weights and just do this exercise as body weight. Keep pressing through the heels, that way you're lifting the hips up. And don't forget to slow down the exercise and control as you lower. Good. Go ahead and give me 1 more on each leg. And let's go ahead and come into our sumo leans. So instead of doing this exercise with weights, you can always set the weights aside and you can do it as body weight. Go ahead and point the toes out, lowering yourself down, and then just sticking with one side. You might find it's a little bit easier to do this exercise since it does require a lot of stabilizing muscles. Lifting your heel up. Keep pressing the knees back. Think about the posture. If you do or if you do not have your weights, really think about pulling the shoulder blades together and try slowing the exercise down. So maybe pausing for a beat as that heel is lifted before slowly resetting. Go ahead and give me 2 more on this leg, and then we'll stand up, we'll reset, and we'll do it again. So toes are pointed out, shoulders are stacked over the hips. Go ahead and lower yourself down, and then whenever you're ready, left side. So really thinking about driving the knees back, keeping the shoulders stacked over the hips. What I don't want is you leaning forward. So staying up nice and tall. If it's helpful to reach the hands out in front of you, you can always do that as well. Or you can keep them right here at your chest if you're still holding onto your weights. If you need a reset in between, you can, but don't forget to press the knees back. Good. Go ahead and give me 3 more on this side. We've got 3, 2, and then 1. So since we are doing a knee-friendly workout, you're gonna see that by warming up the glutes like that, it's such a great way to make sure that your knees are nice and stable as we head into these split squats. So starting in the bottom position, half kneeling position. See if you can get your back knee to kiss the mat, driving all 10 toes down into the ground, pulling the shoulder blades together behind you, and then making sure that you're pressing yourself up and pulling yourself down through that front heel. And by leaning forward slightly, you're gonna kind of load the glute a little bit more, which is a great thing if you're trying to build the backside. Let's go ahead and switch sides. So start in the bottom position. Start with your knee down, back toe is tucked under, and then press yourself up. That way you know that your feet are in a solid position. Digging all 10 toes down into the mat. Shoulders stay in line with the hips. Pull the shoulder blades together behind you. These don't need to be fast. In fact, if you slow them down, you'll find that they're a lot more challenging. Good, we're almost there. Keep going. Last time you have to do a split squat today. See if you can give me 3 more. We've got 3, 2, and then 1. Come down onto your mat for our glute marches. If you're gonna be lying down on your back, go ahead and lift yourself up into that hip raise position. Punch the sky with the weights. Fire up the glutes. And then you're just alternating. One knee in and then the other. So slow down the exercise. Don't go fast, I promise. The slower you go, the more you're gonna feel your hips, your glutes, as well as your core. We've got about 15 seconds left to go on this side. Stay with me. Good. Let's see if we can get 4 more total. That's 2 per leg. Last set. Good. Slowly lower yourself down, nice and controlled, and then meet me back standing. So from here, we're gonna be doing a little bit of